top, and now the screening is gone. You just see the full equipment up there.
I wasn't expecting all the architecture.
I call the Planning Commission meeting for March 25th, 2021 to order, and we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Whoops. Am I calling their names still?
Just once. Clerk, will you please call our roll?
Mr. Snow? Mr.
Excused.
Mr. Tiedemann?
Here.
Mr. Varga?
Here?
Mr. Cicero?
Excused.
Mr. Haddon?
Here.
Mr. Perkovich?
Here.
Mr. Cook?
Here. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting dated March 4th, 2021. Clerk, will you call the roll?
Mr. Tiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Varga?
Yes?
Mr. Haddon?
Yes.
Mr. Perkovich?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes. On tonight's agenda, we have two public hearings, and we'll follow this format. First, the applicants will have the opportunity to explain what they would like to do at a particular location. Second, anyone wishing to speak in favor of the proposal will be given the opportunity. Finally, anyone wishing to speak in opposition will be afforded the time to do so. Or some people may just have questions, and we'll try to get those answers. And with that, we have a conditional use permit to allow a medical office as a similar use at 7326 Industrial Park Boulevard. Is that applicant here?
Yes, he is. I'm going to unmute Scott now.
Thank you. Please give us your name and address for the clerk.
Yes, this is Scott Flivio. I'm the Director of Construction from Optimum Dermatology out of Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Good evening, board members. Thank you for this time.
Thank you. Please tell us a little bit about what you want to do.
Yes, we're doing an interior fit up for a dermatology office. This is a temporary location where the doctor will visit their patients during the process of getting the new space prepared.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody here that would like to speak in favor of this proposal? Larry?
No one has put anything into the Q&A, but I do see the landlord's representative is online. I will unmute Urban now.
Urban?
Mr. Conaccione?
I guess he does not want to speak.
Okay. Is there anybody here that would like to speak in opposition? Okay, this public hearing is closed. Is there anything from the administration?
Nothing other than what's been noted in the report.
Anything from my fellow commissioners? All right.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Tiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Varga?
Yes?
Mr. Haddon?
Yes.
Mr. Perkovich?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes. Okay, we have a conditional use permit to allow a commercial recreational facility karate and fitness studio at 9107 Menor Avenue. Is that applicant here? Larry?
Oh, sorry about that. I don't see anyone for this request. There is a call-in user number 2, which I have just unmuted. If it's him. Oh, sir? There's a third call-in user. Oh, sir? Oh, they're gone. I don't see them online at all.
you want to just come back to this then? Okay. We're going to move into old business. We have a preliminary site plan of a convenience store and gas station, Get Go, at 6800 Center Street. Can I get a motion to remove this from the table?
So moved. Second?
Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Tiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Varga?
Yes.
Mr. Haddon?
Yes.
Mr. Perkovich?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes. Larry, is that applicant here?
Yes, this is Chuck Stewart with Giant Eagle.
All right, please tell us a little bit about what you want to do.
We are seeking preliminary site plan approval for our proposed Get-Go Cafe and drive-through at 6800 Center Street, adjacent to our existing Giant Eagle supermarket. It's a proposed development, 2,900 square feet with a drive-through, 6 dispensing islands having 12 fueling positions.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything from the administration?
Mr. Chairman, I would just point out the extension request that they submitted with regard to the previous site plan, final site plan approval that was approved at your March 5th, 2020 meeting, effective on March 27th, 2020. Per the code, the final development plan expires after 12 months unless an extension is granted up to 6 months.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything from my fellow commission members?
I have a question that I asked before, and I'm not sure that I know what the answer was, so I'm going to ask it this time, too. How is this building serviced? Where is the service location? How does a service truck approach the building?
If you look at the turning analysis, we show how vehicles and trucks could enter the site. These vehicles can pull up to the front of the building or to the side of the building to have to access if anything needs to be serviced at the retail store.
Well, would that be taking place when the facility is open? When you have a drive-through condition going on? Would you try? I'm just trying to understand how the building, say a panel truck or some type of delivery truck would be able to come in while you were having all this traffic going around the building with the parking spaces in front. Maybe you could just illustrate or illuminate me a little bit on where the truck would go, where it would park, how it not be in the way of all the other traffic.
If you look at the turning diagram, you can see that that location can be used for fuel delivery as they would come through, and also delivery trucks to pull up along the side of the building there. Timing of deliveries, when they could happen, usually try to happen more in off-peak hours to not cause traffic problems within our sites. So that's kind of how we would move forward and work with that.
But just clarification, when you say pull up next to the building, you have parking, you have a queue line all the way around the building. Where would this next to the building be?
It would not be directly up next to the building. You could pull up next to the dumpster area. In those locations there, it could pull around the building there. It would not be in an area that would cause anything to block any kind of traffic for the drive-through or flow around the site.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Haddon?
I just have a question regarding the stop bars that you have relocated on this site. The one across from where the cars will pull into your drive-through, that stop bar is, if a car is stopped there, how is that car going to make that turn where you show him on the sheet, your truck routing plan? It seemed like that stop bar maybe should be moved to the west to accommodate a vehicle coming in there a little bit better. Does that make sense to you?
That stop bar is in that location there by the entrance to the drive-through. We pulled it forward because we do have a crosswalk to allow better flow for pedestrians to access to the store from those parking spots. on the east side there. We do not want to put that stop bar behind that crosswalk. It's kind of farther away from the intersection. So that, for us, that felt like the better location to pull them up closer to make it more of a traditional feel of a traditional intersection at that location.
And what about the stop bar by the gas pump there? Can that be moved to the west a little bit just to accommodate a vehicle trying to get into your queue?
Again, that we could definitely take a look at that and see when we with some more analysis. We tried to redesigning this intersection, making it as much as a feel of a four-way intersection as possible, for allowing the entrances for people coming off of Center Street, or if they're coming from around the pumps into that drive-through area.
Then my other question is the stop bars over where the tanks will be filled, the gas tankers.
Yes.
Those, would it make sense for all that traffic on the east or west side of those gas pumps just all go to the north instead of trying to, do north and south there?
We could take a look at that. Again, that's one of those things of using some signage and those stop bars to try to create flow in that area. Again, that's something we could take a look at.
Thank you.
I have another question.
Mr. Varga?
You have, along the entrance to the queuing line, there's a section of striped, it's like an island, but I think it's just striped, right?
Correct.
Is there a reason why you didn't continue the island from the north, to just actually make it a curbed island to contain that? And is there, what's your thought there?
That area where that area there, to not make it all curved, is to allow people that are in the drive-through, if they need to get out, if they're in line, they realize they don't have their wallet, that allows them an area to pull out of the drive-through.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I got a quick question. As you come through the drive-through, is that a height restriction bar right as they
Yes.
start? So is that a raised curb to the right?
Yes.
So if they hit the height bar and they can't make it, how do they get out of
Get
there?
out of there.
Well,
You'd have to back up,
that-
right?
that would be yes.
But if they got cars behind them,
They can't.
they can't. So your height restriction bar needs to be at a point where once they realize they're too high, they can bail out. You follow me?
And we can take a look at that, of course. Yep.
Okay. And my other question is, you have an approval from the last get-go.
Mm-hmm.
When do you know which one you're going to build?
I
guess
have
what
that.
I'm at is what do you think the time frame is on this prototype or the one that was previously approved?
The decision that would be made on to go forward with the previously approved plan or to move forward with this plan would be within the next few months. Obviously we would only have 6 months because that's max from the extension that we could receive from the planning commission, but that decision on which one to move forward with will be made within the next few months.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else?
Well, this hearing is just for the preliminary site plan, but you did provide us some additional adjusted architectural elevations.
Yes. Correct.
And you did show brick on it. There had been a request for brick, and in general, I don't have any issues about the building, except for one thing. Both on the front elevation, you see mechanical equipment sticking its head up over the top. We look for about 6 inches of cover
Okay.
on the mechanical equipment, but mostly on the north elevation, which is easily seen from Center Street, from the north side. You have absolutely no cover on, or no curbing or parapets or anything, and the units are completely exposed there. So we would be expecting us not to be, for you to provide a proposal that we don't see all these big mechanical units on the roof. And you're basically in an environment where we're talking about all four sides because this can be seen from all four directions.
And that is something we can take into account moving forward towards the final plans. We can take a look
Okay.
at that, yep.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Can I get a motion?
I make a motion to approve with five proposed conditions.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Tiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Varga?
Yes,
Mr. Haddon?
Yes.
Mr. Berkovich?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes. We have a miscellaneous review of an outdoor storage, oh, I'm sorry, that is tabled. Item number 4.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
The applicant for number 2 is now online.
Well, that's great. All right, please state your name and address for the clerk.
Kenneth Wilson. The address is 9107 Menor Avenue, Menor, Ohio.
Thank you. Please tell us a little bit about what you want to do.
I am proposing to open a karate and fitness studio. It's going to be a small studio. Right now, we're looking at classes no bigger than 10 students a class.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I know we touched upon it earlier when this was first called, but perhaps for the benefit of the record to see if anyone, members of the public are out there.
Yeah, Larry, is there anybody that wants to speak in favor of that, against this proposal?
No one has typed into the Q&A that they wanted to speak for or against this request.
All right, thank you. This public hearing is closed. Kathy, is there a general code on parking material, on what the parking lot is, the requirement of what it needs to be made of?
Yes, so there should be improved parking surfaces approved by planning and engineering, either asphalt, concrete, or approved pavers. In this instance, we're dealing with existing parking lots. And it sounds like from the conversations that we've had with the property owner, there's some shared parking with regard to the parcel to the east, as well as to the parcel immediately to the west, which is next to or adjacent to the barber shop. The current property owner of the subject building owns the 3 parcels where the karate studio is proposed, the adjoining barber shop, and then the property behind. And then the mobile home park owns the property to the east, which we did receive a letter from the property owners of the mobile home park indicating that the parking lot that you're seeing on the screen right now is dedicated for the use of the businesses there. It always has been. They have no use for those parking spaces for the mobile home park.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything from the fellow commission members?
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Varga?
I went out there earlier today. In the area to the east where it says asphalt parking, where it would be in the adjacent property, there is a driveway that it's improved, but the parking area is just gravel. There's no improvement of the surface at all. And then everything from the front of the buildings on the west side all the way to the back is all gravel. There is some kind of improvement back by the houses on the east side of that parking area, and it appears that occasionally people double park back there. But the issue I have just to speak to the proposal, I have no problem with the project at all. You know, with them moving in there, it's fine. I don't have an issue, but I do have an issue with the fact that there are no specified parking spaces anywhere on the property or the adjacent property. Nothing is marked, nothing is curbed. There's no painted lines. I don't know how you count. I don't know how we establish what they're providing. So, it would be my opinion that we need to see an actual parking plan with spaces, so we know how many spaces there are. There's a space, there's this asphalt drive, or I believe it's actually concrete. In front of the building, it's 17 feet wide. You can't park cars there.
No.
No, I mean, I'm just saying,
Right.
there's no, I don't know where these spaces are. And because there's 4 houses, they're also, I'm not sure, you know, they appear to be on this property, which means they also are required to have parking spaces associated with them, and I don't know where they are, where they're to be. There is parking spaces back there to the north towards the houses, but it looks like that situation, again, could become a double parking situation. You have cars in front of cars. Unless something is striped or the spaces are identified, I don't know how we evaluate this. And improved, I think it has to be improved, because gravel is not an acceptable surface for an approved parking space. Go ahead.
The only thing I would note is we're obviously dealing with an adjoining property owner's parking lot,
Yeah.
and the existing parking lot for the barber shop is been in place for
I
obviously
understand.
for years. So
Well-
to get the parking plan, it might be a little bit challenging, but maybe I don't know if the property owners on the line that maybe would like to speak towards the homes in the back. It's obviously this is an older site. We're dealing with
Oh,
some existing
I
conditions.
understand. I guess what I would like to see as a commissioner is just where these parking spaces are that are being associated with this request. You know, on this plan, where do they exist? And how can they be identified in the field so that people know to park there, and that, you know,
Right, where do you put the handicap? How do you mark?
how do you achieve that requirement? I mean, I'm not asking you to tell us.
I know.
I would say, I think we need to see that in order to be able to approve it.
Mr. Wilson, are you on?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm the property owner here. I happen to be here next to Mr. Wilson. And I can speak to it that we've been here for 31 years.
I'm sorry, please state your name and address for the record, please.
Okay, Zayed Ibrahim. I am one of the property owners of the building that Mr. Wilson is renting from us.
Okay, thank you.
The tenants in the back for the 4 houses, 3 of them that drive park on actually, 2 of them park on the west side of the building, and they've always parked there. 1 parks on the east side of the building. That's the black car that you see identified in the picture. The 4th tenant's an older lady. She's never driven, doesn't have a car. So as you can see, the building side is where we plan on dedicating Mr. Wilson's parking spots, and we're going to mark it with signs on the wall that'll say parking for karate studio. The barber shop typically parks on the other side, and he also has a few signs on his side already identifying that. Mr. Wilson has not set up the signs yet, but that's planned on going up on that side of the building that you saw in the picture. We also do utilize the front parking spots too. We have people that drop off stuff, so they'll come in and they'll park in the front of the store. And again, it's all short term because they're in and out. Mr. Wilson's will probably be here for about, about an hour? An hour. So his clients that will be coming and going will be there for about an hour. And then we've counted that we can park at least 9 cars on the side of the building, even though they're not marked or anything like that. And we've been doing this for like 31 years, so we've never had an issue. But we can get signs to post on the side of the building there to take care of where they could, to direct the people where to park.
Well, I don't want to be argumentative. I mean, I don't want to, I understand the predicament. I understand the physical condition. For instance, a 17-foot driveway in the front,
Yes.
that is not wide enough to have parking and a driving lane. It doesn't, a driving lane has to be, well, a parking space is 9 feet or so, and the driveway would be 10, 11 feet at the very least. So you can't park in front of this building.
Well, there's curbing there. I don't think you can anyway. You could,
Well, you can't come in, you can't parallel, but you drive through. And what I'm saying is you can't drive through because it's not, if a car parks there, it effectively blocks the driveway. And
I agree. If somebody parks in front of that, that's where they're going to block it. But Mr. Wilson's planning on putting the signs on the building itself that'll point from the edge of the building toward the other edge of the building to limit his parking people on that side of the building. And how many did we count there?
And that's not even his property, so we can't,
No,
it's hard to ask him to improve property that's not even his, right?
No, yeah, we can't, because it belongs to the trailer park, and we've had an agreement with the trailer park, Mill Ridge Homes, from Sparky back there, that we've had this agreement now ever since we've been here. We've been here about 30 years, 20 years of which we've owned the building.
Yeah.
And we've always had that parking spot. Every year, we pay him an amount to be able to secure that parking spot. And I did have a letter sent from Sparky to Mr. Wilson, along with a letter from our side to tell him that that's going to be his parking spots right there on that side of the building, if that helps.
Okay.
But you are correct in stating that if somebody parks in front of that drive-through thing, they would
Okay,
block
good.
cars.
So on this side of the building, where is the handicap spot going to be?
Mr. Wilson plans on putting it at where the concrete ends?
Yes.
Right where the concrete goes into the parking lot, because he's gonna make a ramp over there. And then in front of that would be the parking spot with a sign up on the brick portion of the brown brick portion,
Yes.
where it would signify that that's the handicap spot. Everything to the right of that would be, all the way to the end of that would be the rest of the parking spots.
How many, Kathy, how many spaces do they need? I mean,
Actually, for the
it's
karate studio itself, 3.
just 3.
Just money.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure, I'm always for trying to make it work out somehow. I'm trying to figure out.
Well, in the last paragraph, we talked about the overall parking for the entire building, and if you even included the barber shop. Excuse me, there was, the multi-tenant building itself, minimum of 10, maximum of 12 spaces.
Okay. I know this won't be popular, but let me make a suggestion that we ask for just as you have supplied us with this plan. Oh, that's prepared by the city of Mentor. It's not even, they didn't even provide this.
Right.
Okay, I think we need to have a plan that shows the location of the parking spaces, the location of the handicap ramp, and the rest of the required parking on the property, so that we can see whether this is legal or not.
Okay, so, I mean, they need basically a plan, a similar drawing as what you guys have up on the screen now, signifying where the parking spots
Yes,
are located on each side of
correct.
the building.
To actually show us where the parking spaces are for this facility, and for the houses, and for Microlink, and for the barber shop. Because right now, we don't know what we're looking at, and I think we need to get the overall in order for us to approve this part, okay?
Okay,
Because some of these spaces may actually have to be required for the other tenants in order to fulfill your requirements of parking. And so we need to see a more detailed plan. I'm not saying, no, I'm not, and I'm trying to think of a possibility of how to, maybe with the parking spaces on the east side, you can do something like, you were talking about putting signs up, but you could actually put vertical painted lines on the building that would show where your parking spaces are, so people have a chance of even being able to park there. I mean, so they know where the space is. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think that meets any city requirement, but unless you can get the guy to pave the parking so it can be lined, I'm not sure how we can back into this.
yeah, we've talked to Sparky about that, and we've been dealing with him for 20 years, and he's not gonna put any money into that parking lot.
Well, but
He
now,
feels that-
but now this parking lot is germane to your occupancy. So,
Correct, yeah, we've used it ever since we bought the building. It's been our parking lot.
Okay. Well,
And we pay him for it every year to have that right.
then I'm going to suggest we table this at this meeting until we get another document that shows where the parking spaces are and the improvements necessary.
Fine? Okay.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
There's have to be a drawing. Right.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Tiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Varga?
Yes?
Mr. Haddon?
Yes.
Mr. Berkovich?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes. Thank you very much. All right, new business. We have an architectural review, re-imaging of a pump island canopy sheets at 777 Reynolds Road. Is that applicant here?
Yes, that applicant is here. He's on a call in, so I'm going to unmute the first caller.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you could speak up a little bit. Please state your name and address for the clerk.
Absolutely. It's Paul Silver. I work for Image One Industries out of Bensalem, PA.
Please tell us a little bit about what you want to do.
Well, what we're proposing to do here is recover the existing gas canopy, which currently is a burgundy red. It's a color 2020 burgundy red. This is unlike any of the other sheets. Pretty much throughout their 6-state footprint, the proposed color that we want to go with, the PMS 3517C, is a brighter red. This is their corporate color. This is what the majority of almost all of their stores look like. This burgundy one, back in 2006 when we built the store, I believe the city was asking for a different color. At this point in time, I know there's another site up at Lakeshore Boulevard in Mentor there that actually has the red that we're proposing, because again, this is pretty much their typical color. So that's what we're looking for. You know, if sheets recovers typically every 10 to 11 years, so this one has been out there for a year or two. We've been trying to get this recovered, and we're trying to get it to actually match the existing stores.
Okay, thank you. Kathy, anything from administration?
No, nothing other than what's noted in the report.
Thank you. Anything from the commission members? All right, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve with one condition.
Second?
Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Tiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Varga?
Yes.
Mr. Haddon?
Yes.
Mr. Perkovich?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Preliminary site plan of a medical office building at 7676 Reynolds Road. Larry, is that applicant here?
I'm going to unmute Scott again.
Good evening, board members. This is Scott Filliu, Optometrist Dermatology out of Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
You get that? All right, please tell us a little bit about what you want to do.
This will be a permanent dermatology clinic located in Mentor, Ohio. We have our civil engineer on the call also. We can go through the civil design.
Okay, thank you. Larry, you want to unmute?
Brandon? Is this Brandon?
You could also on
Go ahead.
Max, who's the CEO.
And Mitchell Harvey is on the line. He's been a representative for the applicant.
And Brandon's here as well, thank you.
I've unmuted Mitchell.
Mitchell Harvey with Stonefield Engineering, 607 Shelby Street. I'd first just like to thank you for being able to present in front of your board tonight. The site is located just to the northeast of the existing Bob Evans restaurant. And I'll be fairly brief on the overall site plan because it's largely going to maintain the same traffic circulation as is currently out there. But the overall proposal is to redevelop the site for a 5,738 square foot medical office with 29 associated parking spaces. The primary access point will be through the existing curb cut onto Reynolds Road. And then we are also proposing to maintain the cross access with the Bob Evans parking lot that is to the west of our site. The landscaping plan that we propose is going to be a mixture of evergreen and deciduous tree species. as well as proposed foundation plantings across the facade that faces Reynolds Road, so you'll be able to see it coming up and down Reynolds there. And then just to touch on utilities and stormwater, we have designed an underground stormwater detention system that meets all of Mentor's stormwater ordinance requirements. And then we will also tie in all new utilities to the existing utility mains within Reynolds. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Bo Wynn with the Detroit Architectural Group, and he's going to take you through the elevations of the site, or of the proposed building.
Thank you.
Hello,
Hello?
I believe I'm unmuted now.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Very happy to join you this evening. Hey, Mitch, if you could pull up the elevations, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. I believe that Max, one of the owners, is going to give a brief on the operations for this facility. It's a dermatology facility, of course, having to deal with skin. And when we were commissioned to do the design for this, he wanted it in layers, if you will. And so that's what we were challenged with, having a layered building with many materials. As you know, and I try not to bore you too long with the philosophy of it, but your skin is made up of a couple different layers. Your epidermis is on top, the dermis is in the middle, and the subcutaneous is below. The epidermis is the pretty side, if you will, the side you touch and see and feel the most. And that is demonstrated here by the upper portion. You can see the wood, which is a very natural, softer material. The light tan. You can also see the darker wedge shape is also will be comprised of wood as well. Representative of, as we know, some folks have a little bit more melanin within that epidermis layer. So having several colors of wood in there kind of represents the dynamic spectrum of the melanin factor in skin colors. And as we work our way down into the next layer, the dermis layer would be representative of the fiber cement siding. And that's not quite as hard as the masonry, but it's a supportive structure. It's a fiber cement. And I would just like to point out as well, we are gonna support this fiber siding on the bottom, probably go around the base and of the building with a little more masonry. The elements in the northern climates don't play well with the fiber cement siding, so we're going to get a good durable material around the base perimeter of this building and drop that brick down. And then last but not least is the masonry portion, the modular brick, and that would be representative of the subcutaneous layer. So basically that's the kind of layers that are represented here in the building. I'd also lastly just talk about the upper right elevation, and it's that the wedge, if you will, the light box. And what that representative is, we've kind of deemed it, we've called it the oculus, right? It's something that brings light in, something that you see through. And the geometry or the architecture of that is a splay, or what's called a forced perspective. You know, in the world of dermatology, I don't think any of us would argue the biggest part of it is somebody's face. It's the part of our body that we probably put most emphasis on. And we're kind of forced to look at it. Our perspective in the mirror is typically for our face more than anything. And so that's what this represents, is bringing the light in, shining the light on a perspective of probably the mainstay of the dermatology business and what it's comprised of. So that's kind of the philosophy of that box. It's also going to bring in ambient light, natural ambient light through the box, which will go into the lobby, the entry part of the facility. And we're also finding that it may not be enough, especially this one is pointing north. So we'll probably supplement that by placing a skylight on top and then co-joining the two, and then getting good ambient light in the lobby. So there you have it, kind of the philosophy around the design of this building.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
If this is Max Bianic with Optima Dermatology, if I could maybe just take 1 minute and just explain to the board what we'll be doing in this facility, I'd love that opportunity.
Sure, absolutely.
Thanks so much.
Can you spell your last
let's see,
name? I'm sorry, could you?
Yes, it's Uyanic. He is in Peter, Uyanic. And I apologize. I don't know if my video's on. I've been trying to put it on, but Anyway, apologize for that technical difficulty.
Oh, that's
if I'm
okay.
Not, anyway, we are just a quick highlight on us. First of all, I'm just so excited to be presenting to you this evening. We've been looking very aggressively to serve your community for over a year. And the reason we're so excited to serve your community is because within about a 30-minute drive time of this location, the wait times to see a dermatologist are over 90 days. And I'll tell you a little bit more about us, but we are very focused obviously on treating skin cancer. And when you think about melanoma, within 60 days, melanoma can start to metastasize into the lymph nodes. Survival rates go down to about 65%. And then as little as 60 days, melanoma can then metastasize to other organs, and human survival rates from there can go down to as little as 25%. So it's really important that people have great access to excellent dermatological care. And we've, again, specifically been targeting this community in Mentor because of how poor the access currently is. Just for a minute on us, we're, as I mentioned, a cancer-focused dermatological practice. Our physicians, all the physicians working here all join us. We're all Cleveland Clinic trained, excellent physicians. We provide 3 services. The first, 4 services really. The first is general dermatology. So that's just, hey, I've got a spot. I'm not sure is it cancerous or not, and all other types of skin issues as well. We provide Mohs surgery, which is a surgery focused on certain types of skin cancers or skin cancers in certain places. And then, of course, we also provide clinical research where we work with drug companies to develop drugs to address conditions that we are unable to effectively treat with the current medications available. We also provide cosmetic services as well. So overall, we're very much cutting edge in the way that we practice. We'll have over $700,000 of the latest technological equipment in the building, and I'm really excited to be serving your community. We're also really excited about our design. As you've heard, we spent a lot of time thinking about this design, and we want the building to represent what we do in spirit, and also represent the cutting edge nature of the medicine that we practice. So thanks so much for your time this evening.
Thank you. Kathy, anything from administration?
No, I would only note the issues raised in the analysis page of the report with regard to the title discrepancies that are currently under review by the applicant's representatives. That's just something it's a little unique to the site. And if you look at the Alta survey versus the site plan, you can see the delineation of the 60-foot easement area, and the building that is proposed is actually within that easement area. So that is an item that we will need to have clarified moving forward.
Thank you. Anything from the fellow commission members?
Mr. Chairman, I did one question for the applicant. The west driveway, is there a way the exit or entrance in the rear of the building or side of it, can that be two-way, or is that, I know you're working with Bob Evans over there, but is there a way to make that where 2 cars can pass at the same time?
Can you hear me? This is Mitch with Stonefield.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. We can look into widen it, but ultimately over on that west of our property onto their property is narrow, and they have a light pole there. So if we wanted to widen it on their site, it would have to extend further south, which would require relocation of the light pole, which I don't think they would be overly thrilled about.
Okay, thank you.
But you'll take a look at it and see what,
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. We'll reach out.
okay, thank you. Mr. Varga?
Mr. Chairman, I just have a couple of reactions. One of them is the typical one, which is, and it'll lead to a question to you right now. Where is the mechanical units? Are they on the roof?
Yes, they are.
And are they completely hidden 100% with these elevations, or would they be visible if they were placed on the drawing?
And so that's a great question. And per your comments, there's a little gap, if you will, between the black wedge and the wood. Aesthetically, we thought that'd be nice, but now that we're getting into construction drawings, practically, we're going to have to bring union between those two elements and close that gap. So indeed, they will be 100% screened after that.
That would be our requirement, yeah, we focus on that. Now, I just have a reaction on the planning of the building, site planning of the building, I'm not necessarily, making it any kind of requirement, but I noticed that from all your parking spaces and all your driveway areas, you cannot see the entrance of the building. Your building is on the north face of the building, and no one driving to this building can see the entrance. Does that concern you?
I mean, it doesn't, from a civil site perspective, it doesn't concern us, there's,
No, I understand, I mean, from the parking layout and everything, but just from the functionality of the building, no one can see where the entrance is. And typically, you park your car because you want to be by the entrance, and when you get out, you know which way to walk. Is there going to be anything to kind of allude to where, because the entrance is around the corner on the north side, and then it looks like there's another entrance on the northwest corner that's recessed. Is that for staff? Is that a staff entrance?
that area in the northwest is actually a sort of an outdoor planting area, so.
Okay, so that's not necessarily a building entrance. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that's not.
I'm not entering into this conversation to suggest that you change the design of the building. I'm just bringing it to your attention that your building entrance is not visible from any place in the parking lot. And it faces north, which is, in this climate, the worst place to put an entrance because the wind blows out of the west, northwest, north, and northeast here, and you'll be shoveling snow out of that alcove for the rest of your life. So it's just an observation. I don't know if you thought about it. I don't know if it became obvious to you that no one can see the entrance from the entrance from the parking areas and where your customers park. That's all.
Thank you.
Just one other thing. I'm sorry, I forgot. In lieu of your cement fiberboard siding that you already kind of acknowledged may not be the best thing to go down to the ground, could you just replace that darker gray color with more modular brick, but just of a different color, of a dark gray color, or a different size? Could you do something like that rather than, just eliminate the cement fiber siding and use another masonry material that would give you the same appearance?
Yeah, great suggestion. Actually, we were discussing that earlier today. If I could ask a question, are we required to do all brick or masonry durable as the hardy plank? That's an allowed material, is it not?
Well, Kathy, we have a suggestion about the percentage of well, that's for residential, isn't it? The percentage of the exterior that needs to have brick on it?
It's
Of
not
some
for
type.
residential, it is for commercial. I mean, well, let me put that section.
Well, yeah, so the simple answer is, and we can get into the details later, but, because this is just preliminary, right? So, yes, we do have a concern about the percentage of brick and masonry on the buildings, and right now you have a certain portion of it, but I have a feeling you might want to increase that to meet that requirement. I'm not telling you to do it, I'm just saying that you might want to review that with the city. Especially if you're making other adjustments, this might be an adjustment you might want to make too.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Kathy, are you looking for that? Yeah, just give us 1 second.
Well, the one comment that's made is that brick is the most commonly used material in the corridors. This material is recommended for new construction and major rehabilitation. The percentage might be within the core, the village core.
Okay, well, it's just, that at least at this point, it's a discussion of that maybe this material might want to be replaced with a masonry material that would be more durable, especially on the north and west and east side where we get the worst winter weather. So,
Appreciate your concern. Thank you.
Have you read the staff report? And you're okay with the 8 conditions?
Mitch,
Sorry. Yeah, we've read them. I think they're all pretty doable.
Okay, thank you. With that, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve with 8 stipulations or conditions.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Tiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Varga?
yes.
Mr. Haddon?
Yes.
Mr. Perkovich?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, miscellaneous review of an amendment to a conditional use permit to expand an outdoor patio at 8907 Menor Avenue. Larry, is that applicant here?
Yes, he is, and I've unmuted Mr. Longo.
State your
Good
name
evening.
and address for the clerk.
My name is Joe Longo, 8110 Humphrey Hill, Concord, Ohio.
Please tell us a little bit about what you want to do.
We have an existing patio at our Longo's on Menor Avenue, and we're looking to expand it. I believe, I can't read it, but roughly it's 15 or 16 feet. I can't remember what it says. Just for more outdoor, to add more outdoor seating. Obviously, the older doors that you're seeing are, those are temporary. We put them up in the winter, more so to protect the interior space, and we still have seating in there with some heaters, but obviously we're showing to change those to roll up permanent doors. It's time to replace the ones that are there. They're pretty nasty, so we want to make the investment to do something so we don't have to keep replacing them.
Thank you.
Sure.
Kathy, anything from administration?
No, nothing other than what's noted in the report.
Thank you. Anything from fellow commission members?
No.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve with 9 conditions.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Tiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Varga?
Yes.
Mr. Haddon?
Yes.
Mr. Perkovich?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a great night. Thank you.
Director's report, Kathy.
Nothing at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Thank you.